types of democracy refers to kinds of governments or social structures which allow people to participate equally, either directly or indirectly. Democracies can be classified in different ways, with a recent list showing that this might extend to as many as 507 types. Direct democracies. A direct democracy or pure democracy is a type of democracy where the people govern directly. Athenian democracy or classical democracy refers to a direct democracy developed in ancient times in the Greek city-state of Athens. A popular democracy is a type of direct democracy based on referendums and other devices of empowerment and concretization of popular will. An industrial democracy is an arrangement which involves workers making decisions, sharing responsibility and authority in the workplace. Representative democracies. A representative democracy is an indirect democracy where sovereignty is held by the people's representatives. A liberal democracy is a representative democracy with protection for individual liberty and property by rule of law. An illiberal democracy has weak or no limits on the power of the elected representatives to rule as they please. Types of representative democracy include electoral democracy, type of representative democracy based on election, on electoral vote, as modern Occidental or liberal democracies. Dominant party system, democratic party system where only one political party can realistically become the government, by itself or in a coalition government. Parliamentary democracy, democratic system of government where the executive branch of a parliamentary government is typically a cabinet, and headed by a prime minister who is considered the head of government. Westminster democracy, parliamentary system of government modelled after that of the United Kingdom system. Presidential democracy, democratic system of government where a head of government is also head of state and leads an executive branch that is separate from the legislative branch. Jacksonian democracy, form of democracy popularized by President Andrew Jackson, promoted the strength of the executive branch and the presidency at the expense of congressional power. Soviet democracy or council democracy, form of democracy where the workers of a locality elect recallable representatives into organs of power, called Soviets. The local Soviets elect the members of regional Soviets who go on to elect higher Soviets. Totalitarian democracy, system of government in which lawfully elected representatives maintain the integrity of a nation-state whose citizens, while granted the right to vote, have little or no participation in the decision-making process of the government. A demarchy has people randomly selected from the citizenry through sortition to either act as general governmental representatives or to make decisions in specific areas of governance. A non-partisan democracy is a system of representative government or organization such that universal and periodic elections take place without reference to political parties. An organic or authoritarian democracy is a democracy where the ruler holds a considerable amount of power, but their rule benefits the people. The term was first used by supporters of Bonapartism. Types based on communication. An e-democracy uses electronic communications technologies, such as the Internet, in enhancing democratic processes within a democratic republic or representative democracy. Types based on location. A bioregional democracy matches geopolitical divisions to natural ecological regions. A cellular democracy, developed by economist Freddie Foldberry, uses a multi-level bottom-up structure based on either small neighborhood governmental districts or contractual communities. A workplace democracy refers to the application of democracy to the workplace. Types based on level of freedom. A liberal democracy is a representative democracy with protection for individual liberty and property by rule of law. In contrast, a defensive democracy limits some rights and freedoms in order to protect the institutions of the democracy. Religious democracies. A religious democracy is a form of government where the values of a particular religion have an effect on the laws and rules. Often when most of the population is a member of the religion, such as Christian democracy. Islamic democracy, Jewish and democratic state, theodemocracy. Other types of democracy. Types of democracy include anticipatory democracy, relies on some degree of discipline and usually market-informed anticipation of the future to guide major decisions. Associationalism, or associative democracy, emphasis on freedom via voluntary and democratically self-governing associations. Adversarialism, or adversarial democracy, with an emphasis on freedom based on adversarial relationships between individuals and groups as best expressed in democratic, judicial systems. Bourgeois democracy, some Marxists, communists, socialists and left-wing anarchists refer to liberal democracy as bourgeois democracy, alleging that ultimately politicians fight only for the rights of the bourgeoisie. Consensus democracy, rule based on consensus rather than traditional majority rule. Constitutional democracy, governed by a constitution. Delegative democracy, a form of democratic control whereby voting power is vested in self-selected delegates, rather than elected representatives. Deliberative democracy, in which authentic deliberation, not only voting, is central to legitimate decision-making. It adopts elements of both consensus decision-making and majority rule. Democratic centralism, organizational method where members of a political party discuss and debate matters of policy and direction and after the decision is made by majority vote, all members are expected to follow that decision in public. Democratic dictatorship, democratic republic, republic which has democracy through elected representatives. Economic democracy, theory of democracy involving people having access to subsistence, or equity in living standards. Ethnic democracy, coined to describe democracy in China. Grassroots democracy, emphasizes trust in small decentralized units at the municipal government level, possibly using urban secession to establish the formal legal authority to make decisions made at this local level binding. Guided democracy is a form of democratic government with increased autocracy where citizens exercise their political rights without meaningfully affecting the government's policies, motives, and goals. Interactive democracy, proposed form of democracy utilizing information technology to allow citizens to propose new policies, second proposals and vote on the resulting laws in a referendum. Jeffersonian democracy, named after American statesman Thomas Jefferson, who believed in equality of political opportunity, and opposed to privilege, aristocracy and corruption. Market democracy, another name for democratic capitalism, an economic ideology based on a tripartite arrangement of a market-based economy based predominantly on economic incentives through free markets. Our democratic polity and a liberal moral cultural system which encourages pluralism. Multiparty democracy, two-party system requires voters to align themselves in large blocks, sometimes so large that they cannot agree on any overarching principles. New democracy, Maoist concept based on Mao Zedong's bloc of four classes theory in post-revolutionary China. Participatory democracy, involves more lay citizen participation in decision-making and offers greater political representation than traditional representative democracy, e.g., wider control of proxies given to representatives by those who get directly involved and actually participate. People's democracy, multi-class rule in which the proletariat dominates. Radical democracy, type of democracy that focuses on the importance of nurturing and tolerating difference and dissent in decision-making processes. Semi-direct democracy, representative democracy with instruments, elements, and/or features of direct democracy. Sociocracy, democratic system of governance based on consent decision-making, circle organization, and double-linked representation.